They said it couldn't be done, that a fourth-generation fighter could never match the agility of stealth jets or keep pace with next-gen air warfare. But once again, the United States has shattered expectations and rewritten the playbook with the unveiling and live testing of the brand-new F-15EX Eagle II, a war machine so advanced, so shockingly powerful, that it's being called a fighter jet that defies all known physics. It's real, it's here, and it's screaming through American skies with vengeance, sending tremors across the globe, and a clear message to every adversary daring to challenge U.S. air supremacy. Think twice before provoking the Eagle. Born from the bones of the legendary F-15 airframe that has never lost in combat, the F-15EX is not just an upgrade. It's a rebirth, a full-blown resurrection of an icon now armed with 21st century tech, a cockpit of the future, and weapon systems that can only be described as devastating. This monster in the sky can carry more ordnance than any other U.S. fighter, up to 29,500 pounds of death from above, including hypersonic weapons, long-range air-to-air missiles, and precision-guided bombs, all while flying faster than Mach 2.5 and maneuvering like a jet half its size. The twin-engine beast is equipped with the world's most advanced radar, the APG-82ASA radar, capable of tracking multiple targets hundreds of miles away with precision laser focus, while the new fly-by-wire control system and digital backbone allow it to adapt in real time to threats, integrate with AI systems, and link up with satellites and allied forces instantly through the new Eagle passive/active warning and survivability system, EPAWS, which give the F-15EX full-spectrum awareness and jamming capabilities that make it a ghost even in contested airspace. In a recent test flight at Eglin Air Force Base, the F-15EX blasted off the tarmac with an afterburner roar that shook the ground like a thunderclap, climbing vertically, like a rocket, executing high G turns with the kind of precision usually reserved for fifth-gen stealth jets like the F-22 and F-35. But here's the twist. The F-15EX can fly higher, carry more, respond faster, and land with greater payload flexibility than either of them. It's not trying to replace stealth fighters. It's augmenting them, supporting them, and when necessary, leading the charge. Capable of launching standoff weapons like the AGM-158 JSSM, and potentially the hypersonic ARW. This aircraft turns a concept of arsenal plane into a flying fortress with teeth. What's more, the F-15EX requires less maintenance than its predecessor thanks to modernized digital diagnostics, and with a 20,000-hour service life. This bird is going to fly hard and long into the future, designed with multi-role dominance in mind. It can pivot from air superiority to deep strike, to close air support, and back again in a single mission cycle, all while maintaining full communication with satellites, drones, and command centers across the globe. No enemy is safe, no battlefield out of reach. This is America's airborne hammer, forged in the fires of next-gen engineering and field-tested with the kind of precision only the U.S. Air Force can deliver. In fact, during one simulated combat trial, a lone F-15EX went head-to-head with a swarm of fifth-gen adversaries and emerged as the last jet standing, not through stealth, but through sheer firepower, awareness, and control of the battle space, blasting enemy aircraft out of the sky before they could even close range. And here's where things get truly mind-blowing. Lockheed Martin and Boeing are working on integrating AI-assisted target acquisition into the F-15EX, giving it near-instant recognition of threats, faster than human reaction times, and even swarm coordination with unmanned drones, creating a human-machine hybrid battlefield dominance never seen before. Pair this with its two F-110G-129 engines, each producing 29,000 pounds of thrust, and what you get is a 60,000-pound Titan that climbs like a space shuttle, cruises at supersonic speeds without skipping a beat, and punches harder than anything the skies have ever known. And the world is watching China, Russia, Iran. Because this isn't just another American jet. It's a full-throttle symbol of American aerospace dominance. And it's being deployed faster than anyone expected, with the first 2 units already in operational testing and 144 more projected. To roll out, the F-15EX is no longer a concept. It's an unstoppable reality. The Pentagon has made it clear. This bird is a critical part of the U.S. Air Force's future, slated to replace aging F-15C/DS and serve alongside F-22s, and F-35s in contested theaters across the Indo-Pacific, Europe, and the Middle East. Critics once laughed at the idea of reviving a 1970s airframe for 21st century warfare, but they're not laughing anymore, because what we have now is a Frankenstein's monster flight. Combining the best of Cold War brute force with modern digital warfare precision, imagine a jet that can fly from a base in the continental U.S., refuel midair, fire a hypersonic missile from 1,000 miles out, and then vaporize an enemy airbase before they even know it's coming. That's not science fiction anymore. That's the F-15EX in action. And if you think the U.S. is stopping there, think again. Rumors are swirling about next-gen variants already in concept phase, with directed energy weapons. Even smarter AI and drone wingman integrations that could make this aircraft the quarterback of the future Air Force. But even as it stands today, the F-15EX is a game changer, a phoenix rising from the ashes of old doctrines, breaking the rules of what a fourth-gen aircraft is supposed to be, and proving once and for all that American innovation doesn't play by the limits of physics. It redefines them. So the next time you hear that spine-tingling roar overhead, look up. It might just be the F-15EX Eagle II, defying gravity, rewriting history, and standing as a flying testament to the raw power, precision, and pride of the United States of America. But let's go even deeper into why the F-15EX Eagle II isn't just a fighter. It's a revolution in motion, a sky-crushing phenomenon that's sending tremors to the very foundations of global military strategy, because this jet doesn't merely fly. It dominates, it commands, it terrorizes hostile airspace with a presence so bold, so unmistakable, that adversaries are now recalibrating their entire air defense playbooks just to survive an encounter with it. When the F-15EX enters the combat zone, it brings with it not just speed and firepower, but a godlike view of the entire battlefield, a digital sixth sense born from its powerful processors, radar fusion, and tactical data links that tie it directly into the brainstem of the U.S. military machine. It can see threats before they're even a blip on the enemy's radar, launch missiles before the enemy knows it's locked, and fly evasive maneuvers at breakneck speeds that would black out untrained pilots. Yet its pilots are some of the most elite warriors on the planet, trained for G-forces that rattle bones and for missions that redefine the edge of human and machine synergy. The F-15EX is already rewriting combat doctrine. Not because it's stealthy, but because it simply overpowers, outthinks, and outlasts whatever stands in its path. In tests, its radar has tracked over 20 airborne targets simultaneously while jamming enemy sensors, feeding real-time intelligence to AWACS aircraft and command centers, coordinating strikes with Allied forces, and executing precision attacks without breaking formation. And the best part, it does all this while still carrying an absurd amount of weaponry, more than any other fighter jet in American service. It's the airborne equivalent of bringing an entire Navy destroyer into a dogfight. Now imagine that power flying formation, 4 or 6 strong, armed to the teeth and networked together like an unstoppable digital phalanx in the sky. And you begin to understand why military analysts around the world are losing sleep over the F-15EX. Russia and China have spent billions trying to develop air dominance fighters like the Su-57 and J-20, but the F-15EX exposes their weaknesses. Its proven performance, unmatched payload, ease of maintenance, and full interoperability with legacy and modern systems make it an unmatched asset on day one of war. And if you think the skies are its only playground, think again. The F-15EX is fully capable of integrating ground attack and maritime strike capabilities, giving it a reach that extends from the battlefield to the coastlines and deep into denied airspace where lesser jets fear to tread. And what's more chilling for adversaries is its production speed. Boeing is pumping these jets out faster than analysts expected. And because the airframe is based on existing design, the infrastructure, training pipeline, and logistics are already in place, meaning the Air Force can deploy and scale the F-15EX with stunning efficiency. Pilots report the aircraft feels like a futuristic spacecraft in the cockpit, equipped with new wide-area displays, voice control systems, and AI-assisted sensor fusion that drastically reduces pilot workload while increasing reaction time and situational clarity. This isn't just flying. It's commanding the battle space like a maestro conduct a symphony, only instead of violins. We're talking AMRAAMs, Sidewinders, and long-range standoff missiles. Let's talk about the mind-bending, physics-defying aspect. This jet, even fully loaded, can climb to 60,000 feet in under 2 minutes, then dive at Mach speeds to low altitude in combat maneuvers so extreme, engineers had to redesign structural reinforcement points just to withstand the G-loads. When test pilots ran full-load supersonic speed trials, the data readouts left analysts slack-jawed. Mach 2.5 while carrying a full combat load is something no other modern airframe has achieved without catastrophic wear. But the F-15EX not only survived, it handled like a dream. And here's what's next. There's serious talk in the Pentagon about pairing the F-15EX with unmanned loyal wingman drones, like the XQ-58 Valkyrie, allowing it to control and coordinate drone swarms, designate targets, extend radar coverage, and even direct remote weapons fire, turning the F-15EX into an airborne command ship at the tip of the spear. Imagine a single F-15EX leading 5 autonomous drones deep into contested airspace, identifying a mobile missile platform, launching a hypersonic glide vehicle, and obliterating the target all before an enemy pilot even starts their engine. That's not the future, that's now. And it gets better. Future blocks of the F-15EX are being scoped for directed energy weapons. Yes, lasers that can disable incoming missiles, fry enemy electronics, and defend both itself and other allied assets from threats in real time with zero munitions expended. And that's not science fiction. It's Department of Defense fact. The United States is not just testing a fighter, it's testing the limits of physics, and the results are rewriting the rules of aerial warfare as we speak. And unlike stealth-first aircraft that require hours of maintenance of their coatings and surfaces, the F-15EX can land, rearm, and take off again in a matter of minutes, giving a sortie rate unmatched by any other fighter in the inventory, making it the perfect choice for high-intensity, long-duration conflicts. The Eagle has returned, and it's smarter, stronger, and more lethal than ever. In war games simulating a full-on confrontation in the Indo-Pacific, squadrons of F-15E times S played the role of heavy hitters, blasting corridors through enemy air defenses so F-35s could sneak through and finish the job, while also providing standoff firepower and backup jamming support allied assets. This is joint force dominance in action, a masterclass in 21st century warfare, and it's happening under our very eyes, even. NATO allies are lining up for a chance to see it fly, with rumors of foreign interest in export versions of the F-15EX already circling, though you can bet that the U.S. is keeping the most lethal configurations for itself. And a final blow to critics. Every test, every trial, every data set from the past 12 months of testing has exceeded expectations. Whether it's speed, climb, turn rate, weapons accuracy, or survivability under simulated threat, the F-15EX has hit or surpassed every target, proving that this jet is no retrofit. It's a full-scale revolution. So when the world looks to the sky and wonders what the future of air power looks like, the answer is deafening, and it roars with the sound of two General Electric engines screaming at 40,000 feet. It looks like the F-15EX Eagle II, and it's rewriting the laws of aerial combat, forging a new era of U.S. dominance, and reminding every nation on Earth that when the Eagle rises, nothing in its path survives. And as the sun rises over forward air bases in the Pacific, the silhouette of the F-15EX glinting against the crimson sky signals a terrifying message to every rival air force watching through satellites and drones. The United States is done playing catch-up. It's rewriting the air power rulebook entirely, because what the F-15EX represents isn't just power, it's persistence. A return operational logic that fuses brute strength with cutting-edge tech, creating a jet that doesn't need to vanish. Like a ghost to be effective, it crushes threats with presence alone. Its radar signature no longer a disadvantage, but a deliberate statement of overwhelming capability. Because when this Eagle takes flight, its enemies don't look to fight, they look to hide, and are failing at that too. Its massive and /APG 82 radar sees through stealth coatings, picks up low-flying cruise missiles at the horizon, and directs interceptor fire before the enemy even breaks altitude, while its cockpit systems fuse that data into a battle map that would make a space shuttle blush, complete with artificial intelligence that suggests evasion paths, weapon sequencing, and even mission retasking on the fly, allowing the pilot to execute with precision previously reserved for entire command teams. This jet is no longer a platform. It's a flying war brain, an apex hunter in a sky that's becoming too dangerous for anything less than dominance. And speaking of dominance, its firepower isn't just for show. The F-15EX can launch complete multi-theater strike, carrying 12 air-to-air missiles plus air-to-ground and anti-ship weapons simultaneously, creating a single fighter solution to what used to require joint force coordination. And that's not an accident. That's U.S. military doctrine evolving in real time, adapting to an age where the first strike might be the only chance to prevent escalation. And in that brief moment, the F-15EX will be ready, armed to the teeth, faster than anything in its weight class, and flying missions that blend deterrence with readiness at a level no rival has even dreamed of achieving. And the most bone-chilling fact of all, it can do this for decades to come. Because unlike experimental aircraft built for a single war zone, the Eagle II has adaptability baked into its bones. The open mission systems allow future upgrades to sensors, weapons, and avionics without overhauling the airframe, making a living platform that grows smarter, faster, deadlier every year. Pentagon planners have already greenlit enhancements through 2040, meaning the so-called 4th-generation plus fighter will be flying alongside 6th-generation platforms in swarm-based, AI-controlled, high-altitude coordinated strikes. And that's exactly the point. The F-15EX isn't just surviving in a stealth-dominated world. It's thriving because it serves as the ultimate utility fighter, able to operate from rugged airfields, launch from allied bases under threat, land and reload without exotic facilities, and fly more sorties per day than any 5th-gen platform by a factor 2. And while stealth has its place, it also has its price. And when you're facing wave after wave of drones, missiles, hypersonic threats, and coordinated swarm tactics, what you need is a brute force aircraft that can lift more, shoot more, fly longer, and take a punch. Exactly what the F-15EX was born to do. Even within classified war games, the Eagle II has become the surprise MVP. Not only surviving contested missions in denied airspace, but returning with better combat kill ratios than expected. Shocking even the most seasoned analysts who had underestimated how lethal a properly upgraded 4th-gen platform could be. And now other branches are watching closely, because if the Air Force has found the key to rapid response, high-volume air dominance without the maintenance nightmare of pure stealth, then the entire DoD may shift more funding into this dual-purpose powerhouse. And that has ripple effects on every theater of war. Imagine a future conflict in the South China Sea. U.S. naval forces need rapid air cover, and within hours, a squad of F-15EX is airborne, armed with hypersonic glide vehicles and long-range anti-ship missiles, flying from Guam, from Japan, even from reactivated airstrips in the Philippines, smashing through air defense bubbles, flattening radar sites, and paving the way for follow-on strikes before the enemy Navy can even respond. This isn't a fantasy, it's the future, and the F-15EX is the tip of that spear. And yet, what makes this aircraft so terrifying isn't just what it does alone. It's what it does as part of a swarm. Connected via the new Tactical Combat Training System 2 and linked into secure battle networks, the F-15EX can fly missions with F-22s, F-35s, B-21s, drones, and allied fighters simultaneously, sharing sensor data, painting targets, assigning missile trajectories, and orchestrating synchronized strikes with such cold, calculated efficiency that human reaction time can barely keep up. And that's where autonomy kicks in, with future software updates designed to allow the F-15EX to take semi-autonomous actions when jammed, under fire, or cut off from comms, ensuring it continues a mission with brutal resolve. The enemy's nightmare scenario? A squadron of F-15EX suddenly appearing at high altitude, supported by stealth bombers and drones, lighting up the sky with radar sweeps, identifying high-value targets, and launching salvos of precision standoff weapons from 100 miles out, missiles so fast and accurate that enemy airfields, SAM sites, and command bunkers vanish before anyone scrambles to intercept. Meanwhile, the Eagles vanish behind terrain, refuel midair, and prepare for Strike 2. This level of repeatable, flexible, all-weather lethality hasn't been seen since the Cold War days of F-111s and B-52s. Only now it's faster, smarter, and built for the modern age. Critics said the F-15EX was a step backward, but those critics have gone silent, drowned out by the raw reality as the jet proves itself time and again in the field. And the American taxpayer? They're getting a lethal return on investment, because the Eagle II, despite its futuristic systems, costs less to operate per flight hour than the F-35, and it's fully maintainable by existing crews without new tooling, saving billions over its lifetime, while delivering the kind of wartime punch usually reserved for multi-platform coordination. And now the conversation is shifting. Air National Guard units want it. Foreign partners are asking for briefings, and even Navy and Marine Corps. Planners are exploring joint air coordination opportunities using the F-15EX as a theater command and control aircraft for regional air wars. It's all happening fast because the global threat matrix isn't waiting, and the F-15EX was built for now. Built to fly through fire, built to crush enemies with payload, power, and persistence. All while staying ahead of the tech curve with digital backbones that can absorb the next generation of software-based warfare without skipping a beat. In short, the F-15EX is the jet you call when you need guaranteed results, when there's no room for error, when a mission is high stakes and the enemy is watching. It's the final word in air superiority backed by 50 years of combat heritage and redesigned for the century ahead. And now, as the Pentagon orders more, as test flights ramp up across U.S. skies, and as squadron pilots step into cockpits with awe in their eyes, one thing is clear. And now, as the full scope of the F-15EX program unfolds across the landscape of global air warfare, what's truly shocking isn't just the performance metrics or weapons integration. It's a rapid escalation of what this aircraft symbolizes. A resurgence of American hard power in the skies, unapologetic, unrelenting, and unbreakable. For too long, adversaries have bet on the myth of U.S. decline, gambling that slow acquisition cycles and endless debates over stealth and budgets would cripple America's ability to respond swiftly. But the F-15EX answers with cold, undeniable force, cutting through red tape and hitting the runway with a roar that shakes the walls of rival command centers. And while China parades its J-20s and Russia boasts about theoretical Su-57s, the F-15EX is already here, fully loaded, fully tested, and flying live-fire drills across multiple combat environments, giving the U.S. a ready-to-deploy air dominance asset that doesn't wait for the future. It defines it. Just one of these monsters, with a full combat loadout, has more destructive potential than an entire squadron of legacy fighters. And when you stack a dozen of them together, supported by tankers, AWACS, and allied systems, you get a flying fist capable of breaking any anti-access bubble ever imagined, from the S-400 systems guarding Moscow to the DF-21 missile zones around Taiwan. And that changes everything. Every simulation, every war game, every piece of strategic calculus now has to factor in a platform that doesn't just survive the fight. It dominates it from the start. This is why countries like Israel and Japan are watching with hawk-like intensity, seeing in the F-15E times a blueprint for how to fight and win in the fifth-generation era, without betting everything on stealth. And make no mistake, this matters more now than ever before, with tensions rising in Eastern Europe, the Indo-Pacific, and even the Middle East. The need for a high-speed, long-range, heavy-lift multi-role strike fighter has never been more urgent, and the U.S. Air Force isn't just meeting that need, it's exceeding it, proving that the so-called physics-defying F-15EX isn't some PR stunt. It's a national security reality, and one that comes with very real consequences for any nation foolish enough to test America's resolve. Because while the Eagle II may share the airframe silhouette of its Cold War ancestors, under the hood is a cybernetic war machine, powered by supercomputers, encrypted to the teeth, guarded by self-diagnostic AI systems that detect threats in real time, and equipped with hardened digital backbones capable of fighting through electronic warfare, like a lion through smoke. And the GF-110 engines? They don't just push the jet. They rip it forward like a space-bound missile, launching the F-15EX off short runways, climbing above the battle space, and turning it into a forward strike command post at 65,000 feet, able to drop bombs, fire air-to-air missiles, jam enemy radars, direct drones, and then pivot mid-flight to hit a second target with the same ferocity. It's air combat, but reimagined as a symphony of destruction, one where the F-15EX is both conductor and executioner, and now, with live deployments imminent, strategic planners are already modifying doctrine, no longer asking how to integrate this fighter, but how to build entire missions around it. Because it's not just a muscle, it's the backbone, the bridge between fourth and fifth generation capabilities, the aircraft that doesn't just complement stealth, it covers it, protects it, leads it into battle, and finishes what others can't. And there's a new kind of pride returning to Air Force squadrons across America, as pilots once bound to aging F-15CS now climb into glass cockpits, see the full-spectrum battlefield on a single screen, and take the skies with a confidence unseen since the height of Desert Storm, because they're not flying relics anymore. They're flying vengeance, flying deterrence, flying the most capable 4th Gen Plus fighter ever produced. And while critics scramble to keep up and rival nations whisper about catching up, the truth is blunt. They're too late. The F-15EX is airborne, and the skies are no longer up for debate. With new squadrons rolling out across the National Guard and active duty units alike, the deployment map is expanding. Alaska, Guam, Florida, and more, all building out a web of readiness that ensures at any moment, anywhere on Earth, the roar of the Eagle II can be heard overhead, signaling that American air dominance is not a relic of the past, but the reality of the present. And as hypersonic threats rise, space-based warfare looms, and drone swarms flood, the strategic picture, the F-15EX stands as the unshakable countermeasure, able to launch interceptors, jam satellite links, destroy hardened targets, and then come home with fuel to spare, ready to reload and do it again. And this isn't theory. It's happening now. With every flight test, every systems check, every weapons evaluation validating that what the engineers promised was no exaggeration, that this jet really does defy physics, not in the sense of breaking the laws of science, but in rewriting the expectations of what manned aircraft can achieve in a world moving faster than ever. Because while everyone else was chasing stealth dreams, America quietly built a beast that doesn't need a hide, because it owns the sky. So remember this image. Twin engines glowing white-hot, a missile rack bristling beneath titanium wings, radar systems humming with battlefield awareness, and a pilot, young, trained, fearless, pushing the throttle forward as the F-15EX leaps from the tarmac into the dawn, headed into the chaos, into the unknown, into victory. Because when the world is on fire, America sends the Eagle, and now it's sending the best one yet.